And welcome back to my channel. Unless you're new here, and just welcome, my name is Rusty and this is my channel where I talk about my favorite movies, mostly horror, and my favorite music, mostly metal. And yes, we are going to have fun now, yes? I would like to introduce you to a little movie called The Girlfriend from Hell. Now, this is a Culture Shock release. Culture Shock is a new boutique that's been around for only a couple of years. The interviews on here were done at the end of 2021. They've only been around a couple of years. They've only got a few releases so far. And they picked a damn good one. This movie is so hilarious. I saw it way back, probably 20 years ago, and I have prayed for it ever since. Maybe Culture Shock will be a good one. Maybe they will pattern themselves after Scream Factory and Arrow, as opposed to Vinegar Syndrome and stuff like that. And that is something that I would like to tell you guys. If you ever do happen to see this, please stay away from that softy porn titty stuff. I mean, get movies like this, because just leave that shit to Vinegar Syndrome, okay? Make decent print runs at reasonable prices and get these movies out where people can see them. Because if people want, Amazon, Revenge of the Amazon Babes and the Valley of Bodacious Tatas, they can always go to fucking thieves like Vinegar Syndrome. And, so they've already got a place for that, Be yourself. Be something different. But I do wish you luck, and I certainly am very glad you did this. Girlfriend from Hell was released in 1989. It was directed by Daniel Peterson and written by Daniel Peterson, and it stars Liane Curtis, Dana Ashbrook, and Lezlie Deane. Now, this is a slapstick comedy horror with science fiction elements. There you go. That is it. This movie, if you've never heard of it, Girlfriend from Hell, it's fucking hilarious. Okay. Now, the movie opens with two alien beings, like landing on another planet, desert type planet. You have the red one and the blue one who comes shortly after. The blue one is a guy named Chaser. And, the red one is this evil entity, the devil. And the blue one is a guy named Chaser who is chasing the devil. And he's called Chaser. So they come down. His job is to track the devil down. And we are then introduced to Diane and David, who are on their way to pick up Diane's best friend named Maggie. Now, Maggie is, because they are going to go to Rocco's birthday party. So it's this little circle of friends. How two of them are friends with these four, I don't know. But that's part of the funniness of it. But, they are stopping by to pick up her best friend named Maggie. And they are going to go to Rocco's birthday party, where they're going to introduce Maggie to one of David's friends named, what's his name? Carl. Now, Carl and Maggie are the same. They are so doofy. They are complete moronic geeks, okay? Hilarious how goofy and geeky they are. Both of them have been puking profusely all night long, just worrying about meeting each other at this party. So that's, they're just total geeks. So they're going to pick up Maggie to go to Rocco's birthday party and then out to dinner, where the three couples are going to go to dinner. So we have the party at Rocco's, which is absolutely hilarious. Rocco and Alice. Some of the stuff that goes on, like him popping, he's bitching and she's like, I've done all of this for you and I've blown up all of these balloons, and he's popping them and she knocks the shit out of him, cold cocks him. It's hilarious. I mean, it is absolutely hilarious. Watching Maggie try to get dressed and try to put on fake eyelashes, and it has me rolling in the chair. So they get her. They show up. They also show you Carl getting ready, and he can't even come out the bathroom. He's puking so much at his house. And his dad, his mom's trying to get him out of the bathroom, and his dad says some really ugly stuff to him, about sticking his tongue. The first thing he should do is stick his tongue in his date's ear. And the mom's like, that's ridiculous. Don't do that. And he's like, well, your sister liked it a lot. And then she knocks him out. It's shit like that. It is hilarious slapstick moments. The writing is phenomenal in this movie. So they do all manage to get to the party. Maggie is so geeky, pathetic, trying to wear her fancy dress. And Carl shows up. So they meet. And that is a hilarious scene because, she's about to puke and she's so nervous, and they leave them together at the door, and the boy's standing there and he can barely move and she can barely move. And then all of a sudden, you're like, Rocco comes up behind him and is like, dude, you need to say something, do something, And he walks away, and then all of a sudden you see the boy go, and I'm like, oh, God, don't do that. What your daddy said. Don't do that. And he turns around and he just jabs his tongue in her ear. And she's like, and I'm like, oh, my God, man, these two, what the fuck? So he gets sick and runs to the bathroom. And she's so humiliated standing there that she turns around to walk out the door. Now, this is where the shit starts, because remember the evil and the good, the two, the devil chaser and the devil. So the devil's running from Chaser in this beam of light, and it bounce, and it hits Maggie when Maggie opens the door. So the devil is now in possession. So the transformation is absolutely phenomenal, because, she's like, all of a sudden she's talking completely different. She's like this badass sex vixen, and they're like, well, we, the other couple is like, two couples are like, well, we need to go to dinner, we got to go to dinner. So she's, let me go get Carl. And she's like, no, never mind, I'll go get him. So they all go out into the car waiting for her, and she goes upstairs. She stops by this mirror, and she's got this geeky, goofy hairdo and, a little jacket over this really stunning red dress. And she's like, well, I don't know. I need to choose something about that. So she, changes, Bewitched or something, into this big fucking Tina Turner hairdo from 1984. This big Tina Turner hairdo. She rips the fingers off her gloves, so she's got black fingerless gloves, and she rips the side of her dress. So she turns into this really beautiful, sex vixen. She gets him to let her in, and, Oh, she is such a bitch. It's flawless, the lines that go on. So she finally gets him out of the bathroom, and he's, of course, and gets into the car where she then is like, you know what? Let me drive. So she like takes over. Now, her friend, of course, is like going, what the fuck happened to you? Like, how did you turn from, you know, the mom on Little House on the Prairie to fucking this, so they're freaked out anyway. She gets behind the wheel of that car and shit goes down. Okay. It's like Smokey and the Bandit going on. And, so she's taking off. He sticks his tongue in her ear, yeah. Now we see Chaser show up, right? Right before they got into the car, Chaser showed up. And she knocks him out. Because he's like, oh, who are you? Not knowing that that's the devil. And she like knocks the hell out of him, knocks him out cold, puts him in the closet, gets in the car, and now we're caught up. So she's like driving like a bat out of hell. So not only is everybody freaking out, like, who the fuck? What? We have this, probably my favorite scene in the movie is this, and that is that we see a bunch of nuns. Like, there's like 6 of them, 7 of them. Yeah, about 7 of these nuns. And they're fixing to walk into their church when all of a sudden one of them stumbles and a fucking Death Wish police positive pistol falls onto the ground. And Mother Superior stops and picks it up and is like, what are you doing with a firearm? And so the sister, whose name is Sister Franks. Well, Sister Franks starts telling her that we're in a very bad neighborhood, and then she points to 2 of the other nuns, and you see like black eyes and shit. She's like, we're getting mugged all the time and stuff like that. Just ask Sister Beans. So the Mother Superior turns to her, and it's like, tell me, Sister Beans, what are you carrying a firearm as well? And then it like hit me, Franks and Beans. The fuck. So, she's like, well, okay, Sister Frank and Beans, Sister Franks and Sister Beans, we've got to stop this. Now, do you have any other firearms? Now, I don't understand why you're carrying firearms like this. So one of them starts to pull out a firearm when here comes Maggie and that group. And Maggie sees all them nuns over there, and she starts laughing her ass off and going, oh, now it's time to play bowling with some penguins. She's like, it's time to take out some penguins. So she tries to hit them nuns. And when she fucking tries to hit them, they all jump out the way. And Mother Superior, like, starts unloading. She's like, fuck you, you assholes. And starts fucking. All of the others, they start pulling out shit like Rambo. You know what I mean? One pulls out another pistol. One pulls out an Uzi. One pulls out an AK and they're shooting at the car. Maggie's laughing her ass off. You've got a whole bunch of nuns in full habits with high-end weaponry on them. When they start to get a little further away, another nun parts the way and falls down on her knees and pulls out a bazooka and blows up this car next to Maggie, almost killing the whole bunch of them. And I'm like, that was fucking flawless. All these nuns with fucking high-end guns are like, oh, that was hilarious, man. That was hilarious. And this movie, from beginning to end, is full of shit just like that. It's hilarious. So, I got ahead of myself, didn't I? Oh my God. Sister Franks and Sister Beans. So, yeah, Maggie tries to hit them. They have AKs, Uzis, and a bazooka. Oh, shit. So they're at the restaurant now, right? Maggie's being a totally embarrassing bitch, walking through there. Well, it'll be 45 minutes before we have a table. So she walks over to the table in the back, and she's kind of like standing there. She grabs this guy's cigarette out of his mouth and she's smoking it. And then she's like, how do we get a table, right? So she sees this table, and all of these people are lobsters, right? They've all got lobster on their plates. So she just kind of like make blinks, like Samantha from Bewitched, and all the lobsters come alive and attacks the people. So they all start screaming and running out, and then she like hollers to the maitre d'. She's like, we'll take this table. We got this table will do fine. So she got them a table, and they're all sitting there. And then that's when the third couple shows up. Now, if you've ever seen Steel Magnolias, the girl looks like Daryl Hannah's character, these big thick glasses and this really goofy. Both of them are like Jehovah Witness type people. They've just got back from church camp. And the first thing that I thought is, what is Rocco and Alice and Diane and David doing with these two anyway? But they're friends, and that's Frida and Teddy. So they're talking about the good Lord and how good Bible study was. Can you imagine what Maggie is doing, right? She is making the most inappropriate, non-PC Jesus jokes that you're ever going to hear. You know what I mean? She's just like, yeah, I know God. Now, I don't know. His fan club is just ridiculous. And, what are they called? Christians? It's hilarious. So, of course, Frida and Terry are like really offended. And Maggie doesn't give one single shit. So, those are all really hilarious. Maggie gets upset because they don't serve tequila at this barista, like this burrito restaurant. So they don't serve tequila, and she don't want no wine no more. So she grabs Carl and they leave. Now this leads to probably like my second favorite scene, because she's free. She hasn't been back on Earth in 50 years. So she's in this hot body, or he's in this hot body, him. They keep calling the devil him, but yet, he's in a girl. So she's walking down the sidewalk with this geek-ass Carl, who's infatuated with what she looks like now. And every time she walks past someone, all she's got to do is touch them, and she puts a little devil in them. So she walks by a couple and she touches one, and then they start like beating the shit out of each other. This leads to a really funny scene where this very motherly woman is pushing a pram, and Maggie stops long enough to reach down and do the Gucci Gucci goo on the baby. So she reaches down and does the Gucci Gucci and then walks away with this big grin on her face. And you see the mother like look down at the baby like, what? What's going on? And she bends down, and that baby is on her like it's alive. You know what I mean? It's like all of a sudden she's screaming, and that baby is like eating her throat out, and that was funny too. Oh my God! So, they then end up running into some thugs, like these really butch thugs in the alley, And he had told her, he's like, we shouldn't go down the alleys. There could be bad people in there. And she's like, exactly. That's why I want to go down the alley. So they run into these thugs, and they come out and start harassing them. So she keeps zinging Carl. Like, first of all, he's whining like a bitch. Like, no, please don't hurt me and stuff like that. And then she'll zing him, and he'll be beating the shit out of one of them. So she beats the crap out of this one punk thug, using Carl's body to do it. And then, they continue on. So the rest of them end up back at Rocco's house, where they hear Maggie has gotten Carl up into the top. And she is obviously, they're like, oh my God, because she's up there trying to get him to get down. You know what I mean? So she ends up like climbing on top of him, and we finally get to see exactly what she does, and that is that she sucks their souls out through sex. So she's like doing that, and they hear them up there, but they think they're just having sex. Well, when she gets off of him and moves out the way, there is this zombified, emaciated skeleton-like thing is all that's left of him because she sucked him dry. So she then comes downstairs and starts fucking with everybody else. She grabs Rocco and she takes him upstairs, which pisses Alice off. Alice tries to, put the birthday cake in her face, but she like uses her powers to make Alice put the cake in her own face. Very slapstick, but very hilarious. So she ends up taking Rocco up there, kills him. She tries to get David, but David has like gone, this is all freaking me out, and him and Diane are trying to leave. So when she comes back down, Terry tries to attack her with a hockey stick. And this is when Maggie don't care no more. And she just like lets everybody know what she is, because she, lightning from her fingertips that flip that girl Alice, up against the wall and the ceiling, and then when she falls down, she's an emaciated skeleton too. She sucked her soul out. So Diane and David are like really freaked out. They're trying to get out the house. They can't get out, so they go upstairs and hide under a bed. She has walked over and totally humiliated Terry and his girlfriend, Frida, by just reaching down and just playing with the guy's dick. And then you see a big light come from his groin, where I guess she gave him like an ultra orgasm. And so he's like hypnotized. Frida's freaking out now. She manages to get him up though after the killing of Alice. They're hiding in a closet. David and Diane are underneath the bed. And then there's a hilarious closet scene where Frida can't get Terry to come out of this sex daze that he's in. So she's like, is that what you want me to do? Will it get it? Why won't you speak to me? He's in a daze, right? And so she comes to the idea that if she messes with his dick and all that, so she starts doing that. And yet when he hears, which is hilarious, when he hears Maggie's voice though, he goes right back into that daze, which pisses Frida off because she's just done this really thing. And what's funny is that when she unzipped his pants, she was like, oh my God, it looks so ugly. So she was like a total Jehovah's Witness trying to do this stuff right. It's hilarious. So Teddy gets up and gets out the closet and goes, and of course she kills him. Maggie kills him. Now it's about this time she starts looking for David and Diane, because she's going to kill them too. But then she remembers, oh my gosh, I left Chaser in the closet, the other entity. So she goes, slaps him around, beats him up a little bit, and he's a hilarious character. She knocks him completely out again because he stands up, says some funny stuff to her, and she goes to kill Dave. But Chaser comes to, runs in, knocks her out the window. She comes back up. He knocks her out the window again. Now this is all in front of David and Diane, who are now like, David's knocked out, so Diane is like, look, who the fuck are you? What has she done to my friend? What's happened to my friend? And he ends up telling her. So we actually get to hear some backstory about this. They're from Purgatory. But at the same time, they all have these sci-fi. So it's sort of like they're making God out to be some kind of alien. And he's even got a transporter device, Chaser does, that can go to different planets and locations. And so, he explains to her, to Diane, that his name is Chaser. He's from Purgatory. And that what's inside of Maggie is the devil. And that, that Maggie can only be saved by getting that out. He's not sure how to do that because only the devil can do it. It can take it, but it can also put it back. So he's like, I don't know how we can accomplish that, but I'll try. But, we have to find the devil. I've got to get to her. We can't save your friends or you unless I can do my job, which is to get the devil. So they all try to find her, end up running into Frida. So now it's 3 of them trying to find her. They manage to get all the way downstairs when Frida has to pee. So there's a bunch of bitching about that. They have to take her back upstairs for her to pee. Like, I don't know why they didn't have a bathroom downstairs, but while she's up there peeing, she finds the bodies, of Carl and Rocco and Terry and all that Maggie had sucked dry. So after that, Diane and Chaser can't find David, so Maggie must have him. So they go downstairs and they're looking for her outside, and they finally find her at the pool, where there's this really big, word fight between them. And out of the blue, little Frida comes up behind her with a big giant Bible, and bashes her in the head, and she falls into the pool. And then she screams almost as though, see, I told y'all. She's like, and this is the power of the Bible, And Chaser's like, I don't think you should have done that. So Maggie, of course, gets up out of the pool, does the little witchcraft thing, changes herself back into form, to dry. And then she does her lightning and she turns Frida into the size of a goldfish and puts her in, and they show it. They show you Frida swimming in the goldfish tank, and she throws a Cheeto down there to her, and it's like, oh my God. So now that this has happened, Mag shrinks her into the size of a fish and puts her in a fish tank. Diane and Chaser is trying to use his weapon. It's like a laser gun. He's trying to use his weapon, and Diane starts trying to help him and ends up hitting his transporter, and all of a sudden they are on somewhere else. And she's like, what the fuck? Where are we? And they're on this it looks like dune, you know what I mean? Like Grand Canyon looking thing. And he ends up telling her, we're on another planet. You hit my transporter and you broke it and I don't know what to do. So we get a little bit more backstory because now here they are going, how do we get back? How can I save David? And how can, what are we going to do? I don't know. You broke it. It's your fault. And stuff like that. So we end up getting more of the story. And that is that when Chaser was alive, before he died, he was, an asshole, but he also was like, but I did some good things. And so when he died and ended up in judgment in front of God showed him all of his sins and all of his whoring around and all of his stuff, and even had Polaroids. But because he had also done some good things in his life, he was like, I'll give you a job instead. That job is to destroy the devil. You can come to heaven when you've destroyed the devil. So Diana's sitting there going, You're so full of shit. But go ahead, finish telling the story. What did you do that was so good? And he's like, quit calling me a bad person. I was a good person. I did some good things. And she says, like what? What did you do that was so good that God would give you a job instead of sending you to hell? And he said that he invented the condom. And she's like, oh, well, considering all the whoring around you did, I can see why. And I guess that was a good thing. So God sent him to purgatory instead of hell because he invented the condom. Okay, so we've got that out of the way. So what is it with you and the devil? Why are y'all like, why do you call the devil your ex? So he starts like, okay, when he first got the job and first came to Earth, and this would have been in the 40s, he went to a bar and he met this really beautiful girl, and they had an affair. They saw each other on a regular basis. He's supposed to be searching for the devil and all of this kind of stuff when he gets a message from God's assistant who tells him that God needs to see him. So he goes to see God, where God informs him that the chick he's been banging, that the girl he's with, is the devil. So the devil's been playing him and has been having sex with him. They've been together for all this time. So he's flipped out. Oh my God. The guy gives him another chance, and he also shows him Polaroids of that too. You've been sleeping with the devil. So, okay. Diana's like, so, well, I kind of understand because you broke her heart. You broke the devil's heart. The devil loved you. And instead you turned out to be, because neither one of them knew, the devil didn't know that was Chaser trying to that was a chaser that was on a mission to kill him. But Chaser also didn't know that was the devil he was supposed to be chasing. So they had actually fallen in love with each other. Hence the problem, And that's how they ended up in the situation they're in, him constantly chasing her and them beating each other up like boyfriend and girlfriend because they are exes. He is like the devil's ex, and the devil is his ex. So they're sitting there. Diana's like, this is, if I wasn't sitting here on an alien desert planet on another plane of existence, I wouldn't believe this shit. But okay, how do we get back? And he's like, I don't know, you broke it, and then he threw it to her. So she just starts like randomly. So we get some really cool scenes of that because she like randomly pushes buttons and like boom, all of a sudden they're in the middle of this really nasty strip club. And he, of course, gets so excited with this girl, like, with her boobs hanging out and dancing and carrying on. He starts dancing with it. She reaches over there and gets the transporter back from him, mashes another button, and he's got his eyes closed dancing with this big boob chick. And boom, now they're in the middle of a gay leather bar. And he's still dancing. And she like looks around and realizes that he's on the dance floor dancing. And he is immediately like surrounded by leather daddies who are like dancing with him. And he opens his eyes thinking that big chesty mama's going to be there. And instead he's surrounded by a bunch of gay biker dads. Diane got even for that boob show a while ago is what happened. So they end up like transporting out of there, and they transport underwater, and so they're just and into a jungle and stuff, at the top of a tree, and the Amazon. So they're like, at least they're getting closer, right? Finally, they make it back to Rocco's with all of their random transporting, and there's a bunch more fights, and so Chase and Maggie, the chaser and Maggie, they start having this super fight, and they're beating the shit out of each other again in the house, and Diane's watching this the whole time, and she manages to sneak down with that gun and that transporter, and he comes up with an idea, and that idea is, I'm sorry for what I did. If you will give these people their souls back, revive them all these people she's killed in this house, all this group of friends, if you will repair all of this, I will go back with you and you can burn me in hell. And then so she kind of softens up. I mean, I guess they really do love each other. So she's like, can we go to Disney World? So he's like, yes, of course. We'll go on a goodbye weekend to Disney World, and then you can have my soul, So she's all sniffy and he's all sniffy, and they're like, okay, well, that's what we'll do. He promises her Disneyland. So she does. She revives everybody. So like Rocco and Carl and Terry, they all wake up on top of each other stuffed in a bathtub, because she brings them all back. And so the trick worked. And they end up, he ends up with the transporter and the weapon, like, you fell for it, And so he does zap Maggie, and the devil comes out of her, and like this big red pentagram, and like heads off into space after it stops long enough to slap the shit out of Chaser and then takes off. So the other friends have came back down the hall, and Chaser is standing there, and he's like, see, I told you I wasn't that bad of a person, And she even comes over, like Diane even comes over there and is like, no, okay, I guess you're not. I mean, you did bring all my friends back and save my friend Maggie. Where he then ruins it by grabbing her tits and her ass, because that's all he's done through this whole movie, is he is like, he's like really sexual. I mean, it's just, and so he's like, takes one more slap from, because she like Diane like knocks the hell out of him a couple of times. It's like, God, we can't even say goodbye on terms without you, sexually assaulting me. and so he finally's like, okay, so he mashes the button and he turns into the blue light and he leaves. But just like the devil had done, getting one last slap on him, as he comes by Maggie, he goes up her dress and goes out the door, and she's like, motherfucker. He had to like get one more sexual, whatever they call that, sexual harassment. He had to harass her one more time before he left. And then we see the devil. We see his beam of light going through space, just like at the beginning of the movie when they came. We see them going. We see the devil's beam of light going, little meteor. They look like little meteors, like shooting stars. So you see this like red meteor go, and then you see the blue meteor, which is Chaser behind her, going, would you fucking slow down? You hear her laughing, and that's when the movie ends. So I love the music in this movie. This is 1989. The clothes, the hairstyles, everything in this movie was fucking hilarious. So I don't know if you're a collector who's heard of this, but if you're into stuff like Gutter Balls and Nail Gun Massacre, and of course those are, the production on this is a whole lot better than those. But but that type of movie, very cult, Rocky Horror Picture Show type of cult movie, this, you have got to look for this. Girlfriend from Hell is so good. Pure 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10 to me. It was so funny. The guy, the director, the guy who wrote this, Dan, he is hilarious. This also has like an interview. The interviews are from just a year and a half ago. I mean, this is a new release. So they interview her, Maggie. They interview the religious girl, Frida. They interview the producer and the guy who made a musical out of this. Girlfriend from Hell, the musical, a guy named Sean. So there's like these really cool interviews on here. And yeah, this movie is absolutely phenomenal. It is so hilarious. I will never forget those nuns with the guns. That was... and that little baby, Gucci Gucci Goo, and then it turned into like a wild thing and ate its mom's throat out. That was fucking hilarious. I mean, and your eyes will roll so many times while watching this movie that you'll be able to tell me what the back of your brain looks like. That's how... But it's funny. It's not stupid jokes. It's eye-rolling jokes. You're just like, oh my God. So, yeah. I cannot say enough about this. I do want to shout out a lot of praise. So like this one, it's just like 008. This is like only their 8th title. It says Culture Shock releasing, so it's CRS 008. So they're a brand new company. Support them if you can. I got this through Blow It Outta Here on eBay, but of course they had to get it from them. So I got it from a retailer. I didn't get it from their website, but I did see a couple of their other releases. That's why I gave them that advice a while ago. Stay away from that porny stuff. Leave that leave that to Vinegar Syndrome, man. Do shit like this. But I did see a couple of other movies. They got Raw Nerve. They did a release for Raw Nerve and The Ripper. The American Scream. I'm really interested in that one. And they did the anthology Death Timber or Deathmas. I can't remember. But anyway, Culture Shock Releasing, that's who did this. This was, I guess, their 8th title that they managed to get. I absolutely loved it. Like I said, I did find it on eBay from a retailer that has a store on eBay. So, yeah, I'm sure you could find it. It's got a cool double-sided cover. I can't make up my mind which one I like better. This one looks like darker and more horror, whereas the other one, I guess is the original poster, and this is the new artwork. So, yeah, Girlfriend from Hell. If you like slapstick, goofy horror, this is for you. I don't know if that's the original poster for the movie. Girlfriend from Hell. That's her. That looks just like her, too. I mean, that is a really good portrait of the main actress. Girlfriend from Hell. Culture Shock Releasing. I cannot thank you guys enough for giving this, which has never had anything. I saw this on cable 20 years ago. It's never had anything but a VHS release. There is a VHS release in 1990. It's never had a DVD or anything. This is it. This is the only thing. So I really want to thank them for putting this piece of absolute majestic masterpiece comedy horror on a 4K, a new remastered 4K scan is what it says on the back. So absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's not a 4K disc, it's a Blu-ray disc, but it's from a brand new 4K scan of the original negative. So yes, Girlfriend from Hell. You'll see it again in my May update because I just got this bitch 2 days ago. Came in the mail. So, yeah. Love you, miss you, bye. Girlfriend from Hell. Hilarious. If you like gutter balls, yes. If you like this kind of silliness, oh my god, it's great. Girlfriend from Hell, 1989. Never had any kind of release before. I really suggest you check it out. You will not be disappointed, as it is hilarious. It is a really fun party movie. This is the kind of movie that you sit around with friends and laugh your ass off. You know, this is the kind of movie that you have. I see these channels doing these little watch-alongs, you know. This is a movie. This is that kind of movie. The friend watch-along movie. You will laugh your absolute ass off at this silliness. But at the same time, it's really good. Special effects. Most all of them are practical. It's just cool. It's just a cool movie. Can't say enough about it. Girlfriend from Hell. Love you, miss you, bye. See you all in the next thing I do. Unless I drop dead. And always remember, never forget. You're a very special person. Never let anyone tell you any different. I'm going to fuck around and turn them on and then I won't get them to shut up. So, I'll see you in the next one. Keep rocking very, very hard and keep screaming or laughing your ass off, but only when appropriate. Bye-bye. If you've seen this, let me know. If you've never heard of this, be kind enough to say thank you for turning you on to something you've never heard of. Bye.